Niklsun here, and welcome to Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. I'm your host, and on this show, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we'll be going over all of your day's movie news, as well as going over what it means for the production in general, such as casting decisions, trailer announcements, director announcements, things like that. So, without any further ado, let's get into today's Hot Topics. Late last week, a rumor started circulating around that Angelina Jolie was the one that Marvel was at least considering for the job of both starring in and directing Ms. Marvel. Now, this is still just a rumor. I can't even remember exactly where it started, but the one thing that I wanted to address, because a lot of people have been saying, well, due to Unbroken, you know, it being a success, and financially, yes, it was a success. But the one thing that Marvel has been looking at are very talented directors, not blockbuster directors. I mean, just look at James Gunn. James Gunn, I don't think had a movie. Now, I'd have to double check, but I don't believe that he had a film that made more than $40 or $50 million worldwide before. And yet they gave him Guardians because he was a true storyteller. He knew how to tell a story. You know, I mean, look at Kenneth Branagh. Kenneth Branagh was not a smashing box office success as a director. He was a quality director, and that's why they got him. You're just looking at their track record. It doesn't make sense why they would go for somebody like Angelina Jolie. And here's my reasons why. Because up until this point, a lot of people will say, like a lot of the arguments that are out there right now is that she has not directed anything of this size and scale. And to me, that's irrelevant. That has nothing to do with it, because you can surround yourself with the best possible people out there in order to achieve the vision that you see fit. My concern is that even with the smaller scale films, Unbroken, granted, was her largest scale film to date. But she's also had, I believe, one, if not two other directorial efforts before that. She's got another one coming out, I believe, at the end of this year. And while I haven't even really seen anything from the new one, I have seen her other films, and the directing was probably one of the more challenging parts of the movies in terms of whether or not it was actually good. She's very adept with shot composition. That's not a problem because she gets great cinematographers. But the fact remains is that, to me personally, she's just not that amazing of a director. And I do think that it would be a disservice to Marvel to have somebody like Angelina Jolie, just for namesake, to direct Ms. Marvel. Because this is a property that's going to be very, very specific for Marvel, in that it's going to be their first standalone female-led superhero film. And looking at what they did with Michelle MacLaren for Wonder Woman, they went out and got a quality director. She's done amazing work in television. She's done amazing episodes of television. So that's why they went out and got her. They had their eyes set on a female director, and they went and got the best one possible. If it turns out that her vision and her approach to that movie was better than any other director, whether it be man, woman, person of a different race or creed or anything of that sort, then all to them. That's absolutely amazing. They managed to get the best person possible. It just so happened to be a woman. And that is unbelievably incredible. That is awesome. Because my standpoint has always been, don't get anything as a gimmick. Don't do a Ghostbusters reboot and have it just be all females for the sake of it being all females. If it works out that the script actually calls for them to be females, and you get the best possible cast that you can, absolutely, then that's incredible. But you don't set out to make it just because it's all female. If you're doing a Wonder Woman film, the first, in this new wave of superhero movies, the first female-led superhero film to be directed by a woman, or that will be directed by a woman, well, if they went out and got the best director, absolutely. But just saying that, oh, well, we got the first standalone, the most popular female superhero in all of history, we're going to have it directed by a woman. Same with the idea of Black Panther being directed by an African-American. To me, it's, well, you could look there, absolutely, but don't limit yourself. I mean, if it turns out that a Spanish director is the absolute perfect person to direct this movie, are you going to say no because they're not, African-American or they're not female? That, to me, is the wrong course of action to look at. So Marvel coming in and looking at Angelina Jolie for directing Ms. Marvel, I personally think that is not a good decision. However, I do think that it's kind of a unique choice to play Carol Danvers. While Angelina Jolie is a little bit older, I think, than what they want to cast for the role of Carol Danvers. I believe she's in her mid-40s. I'd have to double-check that. The fan favorite is Katie Sackhoff. And I think that she looks perfect. She has the badass quality that character will need. She can definitely deliver an action sequence. The same with Angelina Jolie. My problem with Katie Sackhoff is that I don't believe that she is delivered, outside of her role as Starbuck, I don't think that she's delivered very well in terms of her acting. I mean, just looking at films like Riddick or, what was that one that she just did recently? Oculus. I didn't find her particularly amazing in those movies. Now, that's not to say that she doesn't have a kick-ass role in her. I think that she does. I think that she is fairly talented. She just hasn't had a lot of areas to really showcase that off. And if she is given that, or she wows them in a screen test, then amazing, absolutely. But in terms of Angelina Jolie directing Miss Marvel, I personally don't think that should be done, just because she hasn't shown that she is that great of a director yet. She needs a larger filmography. She needs more hits than she does misses. I think everybody out there can agree who have seen Unbroken. One of the main aspects of that movie that was lacking was the direction. It was just a very ho-hum movie. It was a very powerful movie, but I mean, nothing really came as a surprise. And I don't mean any twists or anything like that. I mean, it was very just kind of run-of-the-mill. It was almost like she was reading from a textbook on how to direct. And so that is my issue with it. I really do hope that Marvel is not going to just go after star power to direct. I hope that they're going to go to quality. I hope that they continue on with the track record they've already set and are going to go with quality directors. So that's my personal take. Angelina Jolie possibly playing Carol Danvers, I think that could work. But again, I think that there are better actors and actresses out there for it. Like I said, the fan favorite is Katie Sackhoff. At this moment, I don't really have a particular choice to play Carol Danvers. I don't have a specific actress because there's a number of talented actresses out there that could play the role. So, I mean, I would love to hear what your guys' comments are about who should take on the role of Carol Danvers, who should possibly direct, who you think would be a good choice to direct, and whether or not you think that Angelina Jolie is the right choice to direct. Let me know in the comment section below. Ms. Marvel, I believe, is scheduled for July 8th, 2016, or sorry, July 8th, 2018, or July 6th, 2018, one of those dates. So we still got a ways out. I mean, they've got 3.5 years to get this movie out there. So we're not going to hear, I don't think we're going to hear about a director on this film until... I don't think they're going to announce a director at Comic-Con this year. We might hear about one next year in 2016 because that'll be 2 years out. At that point, they can publicly announce who the director is. They can even publicly announce who the cast member is and go from there. So we've got a lot of time ahead of us for this. This is still very much a rumor, but I would still really like to hear what your guys' thoughts are. But if we do get more information about this, I will definitely update you guys on here. We have our first trailer for the upcoming biopic about the rap group NWA, titled, as appropriately, Straight Outta Compton. Now, the first thing I need to let everybody know, before you go and either watch the trailer through the link in the description below, it is a very, very red band trailer. So just be aware of that if you guys are just don't want swearing or nudity or or anything of that sort. It has a lot of it in the trailer, so just be mindful of that. This movie's coming to us from F. Gary Gray, who's actually had a pretty staggered filmography. I mean, he did Law Abiding Citizen, which I really did like. The Negotiator, one of my earliest memories of actually really liking an R-rated film. And Friday. I mean, he did the original Friday. So, I mean, this guy's got a really great filmography. He also did Italian Job. He did Be Cool, which I think that really started to get people to notice The Rock as an actor because he played a gay bodyguard in that movie. So, I mean, he was able to launch a different versatile acting career for The Rock because he was able to give him a role like that, which I thought was kind of cool. But the main thing about this trailer that I really liked, it showcases a lot of the elements of their rise. I don't know if this movie is going to talk about the fall of NWA and Ice Cube actually leaving the group, but everything that we've seen in the trailer, there looks to be a lot of social commentary in this film, which I really do appreciate. I think that that's a great way to actually do a biopic about these guys, and mainly about not only just how they kind of came together and how they rose up, but how far their influence actually reached and what it could actually do. I mean, they really do focus on the LA riots and the Rodney King aspect of this trailer, or of this movie, I should say. But, I mean, looking at, how their song, this is a no swearing show, so F the Police, and how its influence on the riots and all that stuff happened. And it's going to be a really interesting tale, I think. But one of the main parts about it, too, was the casting. I mean, damn it if these guys do not look spot on. I mean, it was kind of a given that O'Shea Jackson Jr. would be a good casting choice to play his dad. The only thing that was of concern was his acting talent. And while we got a little bit of it in this trailer, I didn't see much variety in it, but I don't think we're going to see this for knockout performances, although it would help. We're just going to see a really good version of these guys' upbringing and how their band formed, and everything about how their rap group formed, how their influence really affected people in LA. That's what we're going for with this trailer, and that's what I think we want from this film. So I'm actually really looking forward to it. I think it's got a lot of potential. My main concern is that it doesn't become another get rich or die trying. That's my main concern. But with F. Gary Gray directing it, I don't think that we have that much to worry about, because he has shown that he has a very promising filmography. And the guy knows what to do when needed to do. So I'm excited for this movie. I'd like to get to know what your guys' opinions are on this. I'm curious to see how they're going to edit together a Green Band trailer for this. I mean, the main song that they're going to use in the trailer most likely will be Straight Outta Compton, and even the title of the band they can't say in a regular trailer. The actual title, because there's that line in the trailer, like, what does it stand for? No whites allowed, or anything like that? And he goes, no, and explains what it is. So yeah, I'm really curious as to how the marketing of this movie is going to unfold. It's been kind of a staggered road to get this movie actually going, because I believe it was the estate of Eazy-E was against this film, or at least against certain parts of it. And I think they all came to amends shortly before production actually began, which was really great to see all these guys kind of come together. And, especially Ice Cube making amends with Dr. Dre, which I think it most likely happened a while ago. But just getting them all to come together to tell this story, which is something that I think a lot of us are really going to be shocked as to what we find out what actually happened behind closed doors with these guys. At least I know I am. I didn't follow NWA all that much. I did listen to their music when I was younger, but I didn't really follow them. I didn't know a lot of their backgrounds or anything like that. So I'm really intrigued to see where this movie's actually going to go. But I'd like to know what your guys' opinions are. Do you think that this trailer actually did service to this group? Do you think that this movie's actually going to do service to the group, to do service to the memory of Eazy-E, as well as Dr. Dre and Ice Cube? Do you think it looks entertaining? That's the main thing, because I was shocked at how entertaining this movie looks. I was expecting it to be kind of along the lines of 8 Mile, being a more kind of character-driven movie. This one looks to be a little bit more than that. It really looks to be a situational movie where it's going to be about circumstances, which I think that's the right way to do it. But more importantly, I want to know what your guys' opinions are. Put a comment in the comment section whether or not you like the trailer, if you can't wait to see this movie, or anything of that sort. The movie's going to be opening up on August 14th of this year, but if we do get more information about this movie, I will definitely update you guys on here. With Kingsman: The Secret Service opening up this upcoming Friday, and all the pre-release buzz about the movie, certain people have been able to see it. Some people saw it actually about a month and a half, 2 months ago. And everybody who I've heard of either loves this movie or just thinks that it's okay. But most people love this movie, and I cannot wait for it. It looks incredibly kinetic. It just looks hyperactive. Everything about it just looks like it's dialed up to 20. I mean, to me, it looks like it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. And I like the fact that they bumped it from October to February, because that gives it a little bit more of a stretch. It gives it a little bit more legs. It going up against 50 Shades of Grey, that has me a little concerned, because 50 Shades of Grey is going to take the weekend, which is a little upsetting. But I do think that Kingsman does have the chance of getting legs. Outside of X-Men First Class, Matthew Vaughn, the director of Kingsman, has not had that many successful financial hits. I mean, you look at Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass, I don't even think made back its money. And he also did not come back to do the sequel. He produced it. I believe Stardust was a financial flop. I'd have to look at the numbers of, what was a Layer Cake? I'd have to look at the numbers of that, because I don't think that one was a smashing success, although I do think it made money, because I don't think it cost a lot to make. But more importantly, he's been talking, he and both Mark Millar and Dave Gibbons have all been talking about Kingsman, because it is coming out this weekend. And one of the big questions that's been coming out is sequels. Are we going to be seeing sequels? Are we going to be seeing a continuation of this story? And for those of you who have read Kingsman, you know that it's a self-contained story. It really does have a beginning, middle, and end. There are definite possibilities to expand upon that. So I do think that there is a lot to mine from in this, and even going on the words of Dave Gibbons, who was a co-writer of the original graphic novel, he said, there are so many things we haven't had fun with in the spy genre yet. It makes the sequel all that more enticing to me. So I'm excited for that. I cannot wait to see this movie, to see, like, just watching the trailer. You can watch another trailer in the description of this video below. There's a link to it. So this movie just looks like it's going to be absolutely incredible. It looks like it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, which is what the movies need to be. Now, okay, I need to talk about this. This is a little bit of a segue. I'm going to be going off topic for a minute, but I need to address this. Jupiter Ascending, okay? Jupiter Ascending has terrible dialogue. It doesn't really have the greatest story. But holy hell, is it a lot of fun. I mean, I maybe it's just because I went in expecting, and I said this a while ago, I said this is going to be a guilty pleasure of mine, I can guarantee it. Because it's going to have bad dialogue. The story doesn't look all that unique. But the visuals, the action sequences, everything about it, the hard sci-fi concepts in the movie, I think all could work. And when I saw it, oh my God, did I not have a smile on my face. I mean, I laughed at the dialogue because I felt almost that, like, the idea that I got, and I don't think that this was how the Wachowskis were intentionally intending this, but the dialogue came across as intentionally bad. And I wish that they had somebody else go over the script and just do a dialogue update. You know, keep the story beats the same way, because the story didn't need to be all that great. It was more about the visuals and the action sequences, but at least have the dialogue punched up a little bit. Also, I don't know what the hell Eddie Redmayne was smoking on the set of that movie, because he is god-awful in this movie. And I said that when I saw the first trailer for this movie, I said that about him, like, how he talks like this throughout the whole movie, except for the parts where he screams. Like, he literally goes from 1 to 11. And it's bad. Like, it's bad. He is a bad villain in this movie. I was more impressed with the giant lizard things that they were. They didn't even explain what they were, which is funny for a movie that had a lot of exposition. But goddamn, did I not have a lot of fun with this movie. His zero gravity boots, like, he kind of rollerblades across the skies and across, like, up buildings and stuff like that. Like, you see him activate them, then he's sitting there and he's just kind of pushing his feet side to side, getting his momentum up, and he activates that giant energy shield. And that first action scene in the alleyway was incredible. And then you get those ships that can completely disassemble themselves and reassemble themselves to stop inertia and completely reverse it. Like, so many cool aspects to this movie. There was never once was there a spot in the movie where I noticed a special effect. I mean, there were things that I knew were special effects, because there is no way that could actually exist in the real world. But it did not look CG'd. It didn't. Like, it looked perfect. This movie, if Jupiter Ascending doesn't at least get nominated for Best Visual Effects, I will be shocked, because this movie had incredible CGI. Incredible CGI. But to me, it was the beautiful vistas that you got to see. I mean, it's called Jupiter Ascending for a reason, not just because her name is Jupiter, but because a good portion of the movie actually takes place in the planet of Jupiter. You have to watch the movie to figure out how. It is a gas giant, for instance. But damn, if this movie just wasn't fun. I'd highly recommend it to people who just love enjoying a film. Not going in and critiquing it, just sitting back and just enjoying a movie. Again, go in with the mindset that this has terrible dialogue, but it is a hell of a lot of fun, so I definitely recommend it. But getting back to Kingsman. Kingsman, to me, is going to be the type of movie that is very similar to Jupiter Ascending, where it's going to be very, very fun. The difference being, I think it's going to be a lot smarter. I think it's going to have a lot better dialogue in the movie. That's just my opinion. I have not seen it yet, but just the word of mouth that I've heard from very reputable people who have seen it, I cannot wait for it. If they do a sequel, I think it's going to be sooner rather than later. I think that we're going to see a sequel. If they do greenlight it, I think we're going to see a sequel by 2017. If Matthew Vaughn's schedule is open, if he is able to come back. Because he said that while he hasn't really thought of a sequel all that much, it's more the Mark Millar and Dave Gibbons that have been talking more about the sequel. But if Matthew Vaughn was to think about more of a sequel, I think that this would be his next film. And I think that he would probably want to get started on it sooner rather than later. But I can't wait for Kingsman. I want to know what your guys' opinions are. I can't wait to see this movie. But are you guys as excited as I am for it? Let me know what you think about this movie in the comment section below. Kingsman is opening up this Friday, so if you guys don't have them already, go ahead and get your tickets for them, because this movie is going to be absolutely incredible. I cannot wait for it. But more importantly, I want to hear what your guys' opinions are. So put a comment in the comment section, and if we do get more information about Kingsman sequels, I will definitely update you guys on here. This brings us to the hot button topic of the day. Lionsgate CEO had a, I believe what's called an earnings call with all of the shareholders of Lionsgate, and I believe the topic was brought up about franchises and, you know, what are they going to do with the Hunger Games ending, and he actually said that they are actively exploring ideas for both sequels and prequels to the Hunger Games. This is where my issue lies, okay? I would be very intrigued by the idea of a prequel. You know, going back to the original uprising. Why did the districts go up against the Capitol? Why did the Hunger Games actually come about? Like, what was the reasoning behind this? We know why it came out, because of the uprising, but what caused it? You know, how did President Snow get to the point where he is? Even going back to something like Haymitch, and going back to seeing why Haymitch was in the games, and his exploration of the games, and seeing what happened there. Or even the first Quarter Quell. You know, seeing what happened at the very first Quarter Quell, because they had three of them. Every 25 years they had a Quarter Quell. So there are a lot of options for a prequel. A sequel, on the other hand, to me just does not make sense. At least you could not call it Hunger Games. And the reason being is because, while I have not read the books, so this is entirely speculation on my point, I have a good idea that Katniss will win at the end of Mockingjay Part 2. I do believe that President Snow and the Capitol, as we know it, will be torn down. Or at least the government body that is in place will be torn down. If that is the case, there will not be any more Hunger Games. The sole reason of the Hunger Games is the Capitol's penance over the 12 districts because of their uprising. Well, if the Capitol is removed, or at least the governing body in the Capitol is removed, there's no need for another Hunger Games. So where do you continue the franchise after that? Unless it is just an exploration of where Katniss goes from there, well, then that's not Hunger Games. That's another story involving Katniss, but that is not a Hunger Games movie. Mockingjay, the reason that Mockingjay works is because while it does not have the Hunger Games in the book, it is a continuation of the story that we've already been accustomed to. It is the continuation and the conclusion of the story that we've already been accustomed to. So that is where my problem lies with the sequel. My one concern with a prequel is that they do not introduce something stupid, like in the Resistance, that they always knew that, you know, there would be somebody who would be born one day who would channel another uprising and actually defeat the Capitol, and that it's all about, you know, like Katniss being born and somebody coming in and protecting the family because they know that Katniss will be special to the Resistance later on. I hope that they do not do that. Like some sort of prophet comes in and says, we need to save this child because they will be important one day. That's the one thing I hope they do not do, because that is one of the dumbest ideas to do in a movie. There's no reason for it. You know, there's absolutely no reason for it. But there are a lot of stories to be mined for a prequel. Outside of that, I mean, why did Pan Am come under attack? Why did they have to uprise? You know, what was the reasoning behind it? What started it? Go to the 5th Hunger Games and see how is the society working with this annual event that happens. You know, how are they coping with that? You know, things like that. There's a lot of possibilities for it. There are a lot of possibilities for prequels. But if they come out and say that we're doing a sequel to Hunger Games and Jennifer Lawrence is back, I don't see how that could work. I really don't. For those of you who have read the books, without spoiling anything involving the last book, put a comment in the comment section as to where you think that they could go if they did in fact do a sequel, or what your ideas might be for a prequel. Because I would really like to hear other people's opinions on where the story could go. Again, I have not read the books, so I do not know where the story is going to go. I do not know how Mockingjay Part 2 is going to end. I have an idea just because of logistical storytelling, but again, I don't have any idea where they could go post Mockingjay. But again, that's just me. That's just my opinion. I would really like to hear what your guys' opinions are. I would really like to know where you guys think that this could go. Whether or not you think we even need any more Hunger Games. Lionsgate is mainly doing this because outside of this, I don't believe they have any big franchises yet. I believe they are trying to acquire some. I think there have been talks between Lionsgate and Marvel about acquiring Captain Nemo or Namor. Um, so like there are possibilities there. You know, they could try to get a franchise going. I hope that they don't just mine this for the sake of mining it. That's my only condition, because I hate when you see a great franchise or a great movie then be just mined and depleted for ideas for lackluster sequels and ideas for other movies or spin-offs or anything like that. I hope that the creative bodies behind the Hunger Games movies, even if they get Suzanne Collins to come on in and write another story, to at least have her involved, because she's very well aware of this franchise, very well aware of this world, what possibilities could happen and all that kind of stuff. So while this is all just kind of conjecture, that's just kind of my personal opinion. That's where I see this going, or where I would at least hope, if they did have to continue this franchise, where I would like them to go. I would like them to go back. This is one of the only times that I ever endorse prequels, because with a prequel, you know where the story is going to go. You already know how it's going to end, so it does remove a lot of the dramatic tension. You know, it's like when you're watching a TV show. Let's just throw out 24. When you're watching 24, and on episode 8 of a season, Jack Bauer gets put into a situation where he's most likely going to die, at least in that situation. Well, you know that he's going to make it out, because there's still 16 more episodes left that involve his character. So the dramatic tension is just removed from it. But if they go back, like way back to the very beginning, almost even before any of the characters that we've already seen in this movie, or even go back to a young President Snow and seeing him in a very small role in the next Hunger Games movie as a prequel, have him as a very young person, you know, maybe in his early teens or something like that, and just witnessing the political landscape and seeing kind of where he wants to go, or if he's already up to being mischievous and he's already up to being evil and all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of potential and a lot of material that could be utilized for a really cool story, as long as they don't go too far and they don't try to contrive it with, you know, like I said, the prophet and being, oh, she's going to be important one day, we need to save her, you know, all that stuff. I hope that they don't do that. But again, this is just conjecture and rumor, so this is all just kind of where that comes from. But more importantly, I want to hear what your guys' opinions are. Put a comment in the comment section below, and if we do get more information about this topic, I will definitely update you guys on here. Well, that'll about do it for us here on Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have been a great audience. Go ahead and click that subscribe button there in the bottom corner. You can get updates whenever we post a new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at Niklsun, Niklsun, for all of your movie updates. And you can also give us a like on our Facebook page at facebook.com/movie news with Niklsun. If you guys ever have a topic or a question you'd like to have talked about on this show, you can go ahead and put a comment in the comment section, or you can email us at movienewswithniklsun@gmail.com. And on every Friday episode, we'll try to answer as many as we can. But until next time, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.